Well, President Cyril Ramaphosa will today participate in an investor conference hosted by the Goldman Sachs Group. CEOs, chief financial officers and chairs of leading companies and financial institutions from across all industry sectors will also be in attendance. Well, for more on what we can expect to hear from the President, let's chat to my colleague Vuyo Mvoko ahead of that meeting. Vuyo, a very good morning to you. And I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate for Cyril Ramaphosa that he's going to have to convey some kind of message to business and industry, especially after these unemployment figures came out less than 24 hours after that.
Well, one thing it'll sure do, Mvoko, is to give the clearest indication as to where his headspace is a week after elections. But of course, in the same week that there were other things that are outside of his control, really, like the public spat between the United States of America and China over trade tariffs, which, of course, has killed all the positive sentiment that there was after the election. Now, add to that what you've just said, which is those unemployment figures that came out yesterday. So, at the first opportunity that he has to speak to chairpersons of major companies, to speak to investors, what is Cyril Ramaphosa going to say? And that is what everybody is looking forward to this morning.
And how much focus, or how much are we expecting him to highlight corruption and the rule of law in general? Because surely they're going to want to know, when you say you've dealt with corruption and you've learned your lessons, they're going to want to know, how have you learned your lessons and how can we be sure that this will never happen again?
I don't think anybody is looking forward to hearing him repeating what he has been saying for months now. He has said that there's a great deal of focus on state law enforcement agencies to make sure that they do what needs to be done. He is weeding out all the corrupt elements within his party and within government. So people are looking for a message that goes way beyond that, to say, let's get down to business, but what is it exactly do we need to do? He needs to get to the detail of that, and it's no excuse that there was an election only yesterday, because, I mean, for all intents and purposes, everybody knew, we've known for months now that the ANC would win this election. The question was by how much. So he has had ample time to actually think about the first things he would need to say and do after the election to get the country back to work. And that's what everybody is looking forward to this morning, not a repeat of what he's been saying during the election campaign, Mvoko.
Yeah, back to business in more ways than one for Cyril Ramaphosa. And just a very quick idea for us, Vuyo, who are we expecting to be attending this? Who are the big names, if we happen to have a look at the list of attendees? If you have an idea, give us some insight.
Well, there's something very interesting here. There's a bit of nervousness around this particular gathering. In fact, for the longest time, for the whole morning maybe I should say, we've been trying to negotiate for our cameras to go in. And one precondition right now is that we can focus on the president and the rest of the panelists, but a second camera that was meant to capture the audience seemingly won't be allowed in. I don't know what the nervousness is about, but from what one person next to me said a little earlier, these people want to be open and frank with the president without feeling that there may be someone out there after the meeting who will point fingers at them for having asked perhaps nasty questions or asked controversial questions. I don't know why that is, but there is that nervousness. We're going to see right now. In fact, we are about to be ushered in, but of course on one condition, that will focus on the panelists, that will include the president and some captains of industry.